Barnstable Lifeguards make a rescue on Covell's Beach. Rail service between the Cape and Boston will continue through Columbus Day, and a piece of presidential history docks in Hyannis Harbor. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Friday, August 16th, 2013. I'm Sarah Colvin. The Cape Flyer train between Hyannis and Boston will continue its service into the fall. The wildly popular train has exceeded expectations. Regional Transit Authority Administrator Tom Kerr says now he and others are looking towards the future.
Now, obviously, with social media, we've had input from, thousands of people suggesting, all kinds of things from, daily commuter to more trains back to Boston to weekdays to all kinds of suggestions, but I feel strongly that, we can tweak this weekend service a little bit and make it more convenient for Cape Codders, maybe send a train back up to Boston on Saturday morning. And I do think another suggestion of perhaps stopping on the south side of the canal as opposed to Buzzards Bay so that Falmouth people can get there in a more easier way without having to deal with Friday night traffic on the bridge with our buses. But I don't think you're going to see any dramatic changes from what we have this year.
Originally, the weekend train was scheduled to end service Labor Day weekend. Now, the train will continue service through Columbus Day. The famed presidential yacht, the Honey Fitz, returned to Hyannis on a goodwill mission. Channel 18's Sarah Mantle has that story.
The Honey Fitz, it's a yacht that served 5 presidents while they were in office, most famously John F. Kennedy. The boat returned to Cape Cod last week as part of a 13-city goodwill tour. The tour raised money for 2 charities here in Hyannis, the JFK Museum and the Cape Cod Maritime Museum. Chris Galazzi, executive director of the Cape Cod Maritime Museum, told us it was an honor to be contacted by the yacht's owner.
Came to us, to the museum, told us that they were doing a tour up and down the East Coast, and they were focused on nonprofits that they could provide their boat to, their yacht, and as part of fundraisers for the nonprofit organizations. And so there have been a few here in town, and we're very, very thankful to be part of that. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to share some maritime history with folks that is not one of the exhibits where we ask people not to touch, but that they can actually come down and walk the decks and be part of a little history.
For many, including Galazzi, the boat brought back memories of Camelot.
Well, I saw the Honey Fitz when the Rat Pack was on board, and they were moored over at what is now Hyannis Marina, and Wayne Kirker is providing dock space now to the Honey Fitz on her voyage here this weekend. But back in the day, they were moored over there, and so it's fun to hear local people come in and tell us about the history that they know from personal experience with this boat, and so it's really exciting to have her back and connect with a new generation of people that will now have stories to tell about their experience on the Honey Fitz.
Galazzi said the Honey Fitz Goodwill Tour not only benefited the museum financially, it brought more people in to see the museum.
We had about 350 guests come down today, really focused on visiting the Honey Fitz, but they came through the museum, and so now they've been introduced to our Rum Runner exhibit, which is going on. Again, another part of the history that we have here on Cape Cod.
Getting the yacht ready for the Goodwill Tour was no easy task. Captain Mark Glasser said the Honey Fitz went through 3 years of extensive renovations before the tour.
It took time and a lot of tedious work, restaining a lot of the stuff that needed to be taken care of.
On board the Honey Fitz are couches that date back to the yacht's presidential days. As Glasser explained, a renovation by President Nixon made it impossible to remove them.
He decided he thought he would like it better if he had closed in the back. And so once he closed in the back and took the 2 double doors off out of the back section of the boat, there was no way for the couches ever to come out again.
So it was either tear apart the couches
or just redo them?
Or tear apart the boat.
And that wasn't a good option.
No, that wasn't a good option. So.
Event coordinator Francis Pavlo told us the Honey Fitz will make history again at its final stop.
Up in Washington, D.C., and it's going to be really special because all the functions, the charities that we're doing, are going to be in conjunction with the presidential sister ship, the Sequoia. And it'll be the first time in 54 years that the two presidential yachts have been together.
For Channel 18, I'm Sarah Mantle.
The Honey Fitz was here in Barnstable last weekend. A group of Barnstable Lifeguards sprang into action Sunday at Covell's Beach to rescue a 72-year-old woman. Channel 18 caught up with Barnstable's Director of Leisure Services, Patty Machado, and members of the aquatic staff earlier this week at Dowses Beach. Sarah Mantle asked lifeguard Brian Cundiff, who responded to the victim, to recount his experience.
I was on the tower at Tower 2, which is directly in front of the bathhouse, and about 20 yards offshore, there's a woman face down, ankles up, and blew one long whistle, paddled out to her, flipped her onto the board, paddled her in, and then we started CPR. And that pretty much describes like my view of the story.
When you're in that moment and you're seeing someone in need of help and assistance, you've been trained for it, but what are the emotions like that go through? I mean, how does that feel?
It was really surreal. I remember seeing her and thinking to myself, well, she looks unconscious, but that could never happen to me. Like there's in the last 10 years, nothing really that serious has happened. So I figured the chances are so slim it couldn't happen. But then I looked harder, stood up, and I was like, well, she's got to be unconscious. So I responded. And
Director of Leisure Services Patty Machado says she's proud of the work of the guards.
For you, to watch them become such great lifeguards.
Well, obviously, very proud. That's my first initial response. But I've had confidence, and I have confidence in all the town of Barnstable Lifeguards. I know that they're trained. I know they know what they're doing. I feel very confident with the staff that we have out there. I think our public can now see what the importance is of what they do. When something like this happens, a lot of people are getting frustrated and having them not necessarily, pounce on people on the rules and making sure that certain things are taken care of at the beach behind the lifeguard stand. But their responsibility is to the water first and foremost, and to the safety of the people. I mean, last year we did over 900 first aids. People have no idea how much first aid is administered. Little things, anything from a jellyfish sting to a major cut to, and we had 15 water rescues last year of just assisting people that would have drowned if they weren't attentive to what was happening, because a lot of people do not watch the people that they've come to the beach with. And I'm extremely proud of the staff that we have. And I know that they're all capable of doing this. There isn't one that works for us that's not. And the training they go through is quite extensive in comparison to most places, but it's what it needs to be in order to be able to perform at the level that they do. And they're outstanding people.
And very attentive, like you said. Now, we spoke before we sat down today, and one thing you mentioned was, the Hyannis Fire Department quickly responded on Sunday, and they had some feedback for you. What were their thoughts?
Well, it was the Centerville Fire Department. It was the new Chief Wynn that actually contacted me pretty much the Monday morning to let me know that all the chatter at the fire department was about the rescue that the lifeguards did, and how amazed they are at the textbook. I mean, they were just blown away. It was textbook CPR by all 5 individuals. They were totally taken back by how well they knew what they were supposed to do, and they were taken back by that. And they said the only reason why she's alive is due to the fact that those people responded so.
Special thanks again to the Barnstable Lifeguards and staff involved, including John Cleason, Sam Hallway, Kellen Comer, Claire Barr, Brian Cundiff, Patty Machado, Megan Mamlock, Julia Rugo, Matt Gula, Duke Miskiv, Jack Pastor, Marshall Berry, and Tim McGrath. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.